Welcome to my Week 7 game versus ETOCUD. This is Week 7 of the Beware Battle Association. This is the last week of the regular season. And if we look at the standings, one player forfeited their last game. But going into this week, I've clinched playoffs, Hi Guy has clinched playoffs, and then the next 5 players are all tied at 3-3. So all 5 of them are fighting for the last 2 spots. The top 4 make playoffs. Yeah. So they're all 3-3, so it's a very close race for those last spots. So let's look at our matchup. They have Terra Magnezone and Mousehold. Magnezone can be electric, ground, or fairy, and Mousehold can be normal, ghost, or fighting. So he has some very scary Pokemon. He's got Dragapult, which is very fast and can be physical or special for attacking, or it could be support with like Will-O-Wisp and Screens. We've got Landorus Therian, we've got Primarina, we've got Iron Moth, which can be very scary with booster energy. So let's look at what we're bringing. First we have Houndstone. I saw a game recently of someone else where Houndstone did really well. Like burned Urshifu, then hit whatever switched in with a Poltergeist for like 80%, and then I think it burned something else. So I was inspired to use Houndstone. We're using Sandrush as its ability. It gets Sandstorm, so it can set up its own sand to double its speed. And then we've got Poltergeist to hit most of my opponent's team. Yeah, everything but Mandibuzz and Mousehold. And then we've got Stomping Tantrum for Iron Moth and Mousehold. Stomping Tantrum works if your previous move failed, then Stomping Tantrum's power is doubled from 75 to 150. So if Poltergeist fails because Iron Moth switches in and uses its booster energy and doesn't have an item, Stomping Tantrum will double in power. I think Stomping Tantrum just knocks out Iron Moth from full anyway. So it's more interesting into Mousehold switching in, because it goes, I think it's a 2-hit knockout at that point, if Mousehold doesn't have any Bolt. We've got Shadow Sneak for Dragapult, and for the item I went with Spell Tag. I thought about Clear Amulet, so Landorus couldn't intimidate us and lower our attack, but I decided on Spell Tag instead. Because if Landorus doesn't come in, it'll do more damage. And this is a Terra Captain, so we're Terra Ghost to boost our Poltergeist even stronger. So our main problem this week is to get rid of Mandibuzz, so Houndstone can come in and use Poltergeist on everything. Next we have Talonflame. We've got Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Brave Bird, Roost, mostly for Rillaboom to take it on. Also Landorus if it doesn't have a rock move. But most of his team can get Will-O-Wisp, everything but Iron Moth. And then we've got Brave Bird to hit stuff like Dragapult and Iron Moth for about 40-ish%. And I think it is over 80 to Rillaboom. So we went with Brave Bird. And then we have Taunt, mostly for... who was it? for Mandibuzz, so it can't defog or roost. Okay, next we have Darkrai. Got Nasty Plot with Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, and Psyshock. Dark Pulse hits most of his team, and we've got Ice Beam for Rillaboom, Landorus, and Mandibuzz. Then last, I was deciding between Sludge Bomb to hit Primarina or Psyshock, because Psyshock hits Iron Moth a lot harder. And Psyshock does similar damage to Sludge Bomb if it's Assault Vest Primarina, so we went with Psyshock. I was considering Adrenaline Orb to get a speed boost if Landorus comes in, but I decided Landorus wouldn't want to switch into Darkrai, so it's probably not going to be useful. So we've got Expert Belt. Next we have Empoleon. This is for Primarina and for Dragapult. I resist Dragon, so even if Dragapult is physical, it doesn't get a great physical coverage. So I'm alright into that. And then even if it brings like Thunderbolt and max special defense, so I should be okay into him. And Primarina, I don't think it gets any coverage for Empoleon, like maybe like Energy Ball for neutral damage. But we got Roar, mostly to roar out a Calm Mind Primarina, maybe a Dragon Dance Dragapult. But we've got Flash Cannon to hit those two, and Surf to hit Iron Moth. Yeah, I think it hits other things neutrally, but Surf is mostly for Iron Moth. And we are bringing Shed Shell, so Magnezone can't trap us. Magnezone's ability is Magnet Pull, so if it's in versus a Steel type like Empoleon, the Steel type can't switch out. And Empoleon's really important for Primarina and Dragapult, so I don't want it to just get trapped and faint before Dragapult is taken care of. So we have Shed Shell, so we can always switch out. Next we have Glamora. I was thinking about a Rock Polish Meteor Beam set, but it couldn't fit all the moves I wanted. I needed Earth Power for Iron Moth, needed Sludge Wave for Rillaboom and Primarina, and I wanted Power Gem for Dragapult and for Mandibuzz. And I couldn't fit it all, so we went with a more defensive set. My opponent has a lot of U-turn, so we're hoping to get Toxic Spikes on a U-turn. And we've got a lot of special defense, so we can take on Iron Moth. And then Toxic, I'm hoping, or I'm assuming my opponent would switch out if this is in versus Iron Moth. So I'd be able to Toxic whatever comes in, like a Landorus or a Mandibuzz. Last is Garchomp. I felt like we needed to bring Garchomp with Rough Skin in case Mousehold came, because Mousehold's signature move is Population Bomb, which hits 10 times, but it's a physical move that makes contact. So if you go into Garchomp, who is Rough Skin, you're gonna hit yourself, you're gonna take recoil 10 times. Well, not 10 times, you'd faint before the 10th time, I think about 7. Yeah, the 7th time you'd knock yourself out. So we need Garchomp, and I'm bringing a defensive set, or like a bulky set, to take on Landorus mostly, and set up as many hazards as I can. And this is our team. So I'm a little bit behind on recording. I recorded week 5, 6, and now 7 all in a row. James is still here. She might be even sleepier this time, if you can believe it. Yeah, she cannot say hi. She is knocked out. But I was looking at the length of the recordings, and the first 2 were like 5 minutes for the team builder, and this one was 10. So I guess you can probably tell I just played my week 7 game like an hour ago, and the other 2 games were weeks ago, so I have more to say about the team builder for this one because it's fresh in my mind. But here we go with our game for week 7. He didn't bring... Let's see what he didn't bring. No Mousehold, no Regirock, no Swalot, and no Primarina. No Primarina surprised me. I'm happy to see that because Primarina is very bulky and hard to take care of. Yeah, no Mousehold, so his Terra Captain is Magnezone, who is very scary, especially if he's Terra Fairy, because that can hit Garchomp, and Thunderbolt hits everything else. And he does lead off with Magnezone. We go to Glamora expecting a Thunderbolt, and luckily he's Terra Ground, not Terra Fairy. So Garchomp will be able to take at least 1 hit and deal some damage to Magnezone. But he switches out with Volt Switch. I am very bulky, so we are able to take what I believe is a Banded Grassy Glide. Yeah, we're not max speed, so if he was max speed and he had Wood Hammer, that would have knocked us out. But we went for Grassy Glide. Knock him out with Sludge Wave, and Iron Moth picks up the Toxic Spike. We go to Empoleon, and he gets a boost with Fiery Dance. Luckily he doesn't get a second boost, and we are healing from the grassy terrain, so we have just enough health to take another Fiery Dance and knock out Iron Moth. Yeah, so we are on low health, but we do manage to take it out. So I switch out of Dragapult. I decided I could maybe get a Roost off on Mandibuzz. So I'm trying to sacrifice Glamora here, but he goes for the Dragon Dance. And he does knock me out, but we get our Toxic Spike down. And in comes Houndstone. We Terra, we Terrastalize, and we go for Shadow Sneak. I think that was do about 70 to 80. So that crit mattered. But I don't know what move he would try to go for. His strongest physical ghost move is Phantom Force, which takes 2 turns. You know what? He didn't show an item. He could have been Power Herb. I didn't think of that. I thought if he did Phantom Force, I'd be able to switch out, take a hit on something, and then bring Houndstone back in and Shadow Sneak again. We get a lucky crit to take out Dragapult here. And in comes Mandibuzz. And we get Toxic. We try to Will-O-Wisp Mandibuzz here, but in comes Magnezone, and it gets poisoned by the Toxic Spike, so it can't get burned. We go for Roost here to see what he wants to do. Get rid of my Flying type to be neutral to Electric. I also end up being neutral to Body Press, but that's fine. We Roost again. He is getting worn down by the poison, so that's fine with me. And we do get a Will-O-Wisp on Mandibuzz. Magnezone's back in, taking more poison damage. We also go down to Toxic, and we bring in Garchomp. Yeah, we go for Stealth Rock to damage Landorus if it keeps coming in, and we find out it's Rocky Helmet, which is good. I was worried it might be Scarf, but since it's not, Darkrai will outspeed it. And I'm not too scared of what Magnezone can do to Garchomp. Like, maybe it could use the Flash Cannon, but that's probably it. So I keep Dragon Tailing, trying to bring in Landorus for as much chip damage as possible. Yeah, even with a crit, it only did 40 damage. And we keep bringing Landorus in. Luckily, he keeps getting chipped down by Stealth Rock. We bring a Spike, so we're able to knock out Magnezone next time it comes in. And Landorus shows Outrage, which knocks out Garchomp. And we saw its Rocky Helmet, so we know we're faster. So Ice Beam takes out Landorus. Ice Beam does over half to Mandibuzz. I don't think that Toxic Mist mattered, because we'll see here, we're cleaning up with Ice Beam. And Magnezone dies to Hazards as it comes in. So we didn't get to use Houndstone the way I wanted, using Sandstorm to get fast, and then using Poltergeist on everything. But we did manage to win. Houndstone did take out Dragapult with Shadow Sneak, and Darkrai managed to clean up, as it so often does. So that's the end of the regular season. We end up at 6-1 with a plus 18 differential. So we do end up in first place. So we don't know. The other two games still have to be played, so we don't know who else is making it to playoffs. But since I'm first seed, I get to pick my opponent for the first round of playoffs, and then the two remaining players will play each other. So we'll see who makes it into playoffs. I'm pretty sure I won't be picking Kai Guy. He's the only person I lost to. I don't want to play him again. So we'll probably be picking someone else. Alright, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.